Did you know that originally you were not supposed to be a joke? Like, that was not the intention?
I have never been a joke! I will slap you for your incompetence, you stupid boob!
Okay, sure. Alright, fine. You were never a joke. Never. So yeah, I just watched a huge interview. It was like crazy. It was like 45 minutes or whatever with a guy named Rob Lamb. And he did a whole bunch of work on the original Masters of the Universe show. And while I was watching him, it kind of blew my mind when it came to this one part. It was not that a bunch of it, the whole thing was interesting. It was very, very interesting. In fact, it's currently on James Etok. He has a YouTube, and I'm trying to remember exactly what it was called. Let me look it up real quick just to give Serial Geek. Okay, so Serial Geek on YouTube, because I just looked it up. That's what he goes by. If you look his stuff up, there's a big interview there, and it's broken into parts, and it's an interview with Rob Lamb. And this was really cool. Like, really cool. Let me check this real quick. Let me make sure that the name is right and everything. Yeah, I'm right. Rob Lamb. There. I wanted to double check. I didn't want to be wrong. But anyways, during the course of this interview, we come across this part where he says that some of the writers, not just him, some of the writers, multiple writers, were writing Skeletor to be serious. He was not meant to be a joke. They were writing out the scripts, and of course, when you're writing scripts and you're doing storyboards and stuff like that, a big part of the life of the character is going to be determined by the voice actor that you get. And this can change things dramatically. From the guy that writes it, he has something going on in his head. The guy that storyboards it has something going on in his head. The director that's overseeing it has something going on in his head. The producers and company that want it made have something in their head. And then you hand it off to the actors. And just to put it out there, you could see a major difference in, say, Vegeta from the original Ocean dub that we got here in America to later on the Funimation dub. These two characters, the same guy, Vegeta, feel like completely different characters by each dub, especially when you can watch them do the same scene. This is when things really change for this, because one guy's doing it very differently than the other guy's doing it. And you also see it years ago in Ghostbusters, the real Ghostbusters. There was a recast that took two actors out, if I remember right, but specifically the one that I'm referencing, even though both of them would work, Peter Venkman was changed, and it feels different when Peter Venkman changes. And then they went back and they redubbed some of the original episodes, and it's noticeable. But anyways, he gets to this part where he says that he was writing Skeletor to be serious. He wanted him to be evil, menacing, powerful, and dangerous. So he's writing it out, and to him, he thinks that he's going to have like an evil voice, like he's going to sound, he said he was kind of thinking recently the animated Lord of the Rings thing that was done. That's where his mind was. So that's kind of what he thought that he was working on when he was visualizing Skeletor. Then all of a sudden, he said he got there, got everything written out, stuff went through, and of course, by the way you work so fast, he's probably writing 2 or 3, 4 things already. He's already got 2 or 3 done. They've been sent in, animation is being done, and now he's working on 5 or 6 other things, trying to get that done. And then he said he heard the voice, and he said his heart sunk. Boom. Just immediately, everything that he thought he was doing, everything he was trying to do, gone. Skeletor is an incompetent joke. That's crazy. It's crazy to see how this material is interpreted. And this is something I've been saying from the start. MotU is malleable and has been from the beginning. The toys were not based on Filmation. The toys were very much a Conan the Barbarian style toy. Barbarians. Techno fantasy, sure, barbarian techno fantasy, which is still to this day, I think it's amazing. But what I'm saying here is that the toys were different. Even the writers that were given the material, that were starting to kind of craft stuff off the material and had seen the toys and thought, oh, this is what we're doing? Okay, I got ideas for that. Then you start writing some stuff and you think, okay, so this guy is going to be, he's the bad guy. He's missing his face. I don't know if he's like a demon or something happened or he's Thulsa Doom. Who knows what's going on with this guy, but he's cool. And visually, when you just look at Skeletor, well, maybe not dumb face Skeletor, but like, regardless, when you look at Skeletor, he looks cool. Instantly, you get an idea about him. And when you look at old He-Man, his hair was blonde, and it wasn't quite so spectacular. It was kind of matted to his head, and he was just kind of ugly looking. That's another thing, too. I've seen this over and over and over again where people say, I've seen people get mad about the He-Man head sculpts saying that, oh, why is he ugly or whatever. Personally, he kind of is. He's kind of a big, angry, ugly, barbarian man dude. Like, that's what he is. Look at the original toy. He wasn't like Mr. Handsome, Fantastic, or whatever. He really wasn't. Not the original first release toys. In fact, yeah, hold on. Not that it's too big of a thing here, but look at this guy. This guy isn't Mr. Pretty. He really isn't. In fact, you could argue that this guy, the first wave guy they put out, he looks too pretty. His hair's perfect and it's falling down across his face and it's nice and it's over to the side and it's got this nice buoyancy to it. It's nice. He's looking nice. He's looking good. This guy is He-Man. Angry, scowling face, mean. The toys were different. They were not the same thing as what Filmation was, as what even the mini comics were. It blows my mind to see that even the people that were writing it at Filmation had different ideas, because these things, these toys, MotU, Masters of the Universe, is a malleable property from start to finish. And that's why, like, it kind of blows my mind that years ago, and I've told this story many times, but years ago, I got pushed out of the fandom before I even got into it by a gatekeeper because I liked a toy and it wasn't right. It wasn't He-Man as far as he was concerned. And he argued with me and kind of put me in this spot where I was tired of fighting with him. So I was tired of the fandom at large. And this happens. This really does happen. When you try to get into something like Ninja Turtles or comic books, something huge, right? Dragon Ball Z. And you're like, I'm really liking Super. And then instead of saying, I don't necessarily care for Super, personally, I sit in the Dragon Ball Z camp. I would honestly advise, not that you dislike Super, not that you change your course of thinking, but I would honestly advise going back and watching the entire story because it'll make everything even bigger for you. If you're liking Super, Super will be even bigger for you. Like, give them an alternative to actually go and check out your side of things. But then there's gatekeepers that'll get in and be like, man, you don't know nothing about this. And it's that kind of reaction, probably not that exact reaction, but it's that kind of reaction that pushes people out of fandoms that are large, because the representation of the fan base and this is happening a lot with Star Wars. But the representation of the fan base can be negative to the point where you don't want to deal with the property because you would have to deal with them people. And Masters of the Universe, its fan base is fantastic. It's fantastic. It blows my mind that I got the kind of gatekeeper issue that I got when I tried to get into this years ago. Because, like, it's not there now. I got people that are gung-ho about, dude, you're getting into action figure photography? That's fantastic. Going over to Instagram, that's where a lot of these guys are. They'll teach you modeling, they'll teach you this, they're pretty Hey, come be a part of the community. Welcome aboard, man. Come in here. Come be a part of this MotU. Like, we got stuff like that that's going on in the MotU community. We got people that are doing customs. We got people that are, you know, people like different toys, but they don't necessarily, so far, anyways, I've spoken to many people on my own channel that have told me things like, Masterverse is not my thing, I'm an Origins guy. But they don't dissuade me or get mad or give me 600 reasons why my choice is wrong. That doesn't seem to be the way the fandom works, and it's fantastic. It's fantastic. And I think it does boil down to this one concept. Skeletor was supposed to be serious in that guy's point of view, and in my point of view, and in most of the kids' point of view. But then a couple people made a decision, and an actor made a decision, and he was a goofball. And then they even went as far as Rob Lamb even tried to produce scripts later on where he tried to write in and tried to fix it. He kind of tried to backpedal Skeletor. Like, okay, well, let's see if I can't write it so that even though his voice is this way and he's kind of come off this way, maybe I could backpedal it and make him serious. And he tried. And it didn't work. They, by that point, they'd already been set in stone. They've kind of made their decision of the way they're going. And then they kind of sent notes back to him saying, you gotta pedal this back, man. He's not the devil. He can't be this kind of competent evil. Gotta pull it back, man. That's not what we're going for here. But that is amazing. Because MotU, the toys, are avatars of the imagination. You put them in front of you, you look them over, and you make the decision on the spot what you think about them. They really are just an absolute, like, personally, if I was to look over these figures, I'd tell you that he is an older He-Man. I'm just saying, whenever I see Battle Armor He-Man, my first impression is that he's a little bit older and he's protecting himself in a time of more serious war. Where this is a younger version of He-Man whom is doing what he originally set out to do, finding both halves of the power sword. And as the younger adventurer, he's not in the war yet. And when the war starts and it gets serious, that's where Battle Armor He-Man comes in. And it also would be where Skeletor and his minions start battle armoring up and they get a lot more serious. And then we bring in the two playsets and everything like that. And it gets a lot more extreme. And this is the way I see it. It's kind of like moving into a King Conan kind of idea. It's just the storyline potential in MotU is endless. It is endless. It is one of the most fantastic properties I have ever seen or had a chance to be a part of. And hearing this one simple fact, Rob Lamb thought He-Man was supposed to be serious and wrote him that way. It just opened up the world even bigger than it already was for me. It really did. MotU is amazing for so many reasons. It's amazing. Speaking of battle armor, I have Terror Claw's Skeletor to open. So, I'm gonna get out of here.
I have spoken. Take what you will from